Hello, everybody, and welcome to RiverCity-Media's Beyond the Booth. I'm the Howard Chaney along with Phil Harris, and we got two state champions in the house tonight with Coach E, which has been on here before, and we got Miss Madeline, Miss MVP of the state finals. Thank you all for joining us, and congratulations to both of you. Coach E, I got a question. Coach, we got you. Coach, Coach,
All
you
right,
there?
I'm here. Just it's hit or miss. It'll be a couple. Yes, sir.
Okay. Something I want to talk about before we
Unrecorded.
get into the Uh, something I want to get into before we get started with the basketball concept is the coaches at Pisgah. It seems like y'all are a tight knit group of coaches and really support each other on all aspects of all the sports. And why do you contribute to that too?
Well, we know we hate each other. At a 2A school, if you don't have a great support cast, whether it be with coaches of other sports or administration, you're going to have a tough time. And I try to help out in football. I've been on softball field occasionally, even did baseball a long time ago. So, it's just part of it. We all know we're in it together. So it's not a real, I'll get along pretty well.
Yeah, Coach, you're cutting out a little bit. We know you're traveling, trying to get back to your house real quick, but this is not something that just started
Yeah,
over the last couple of years. This has been going on for the last 20 years or more. It seems like everybody just works together at Pisgah, and especially all the coaches.
it's uh, it's a really good tight knit group. We're really trying to make sure we can help each other keep players out, keep them focused, and working together. Uh, it, it's just really I mean, we got some great coaches on every staff, and uh, it just keeps free fueling. So we're really happy to be together, and hopefully we'll make everything work for as long as it takes. You might want to talk to Madeline. I'm fixing to hit a real bad dead spot for me.
Okay. So, Miss Madeline, we'll bring you in. Let's talk to you for a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what position you played, and everything, and how long you've been playing.
I've been on varsity since ninth grade. Ninth grade, I was defense, rebounding, kind of getting my minutes here and there, and that was the first time I won. And then my senior year, I'm more of a point guard, um, playmaker. I guess I get people the ball that need the ball. Um, so I took on a different role this year as a scorer and a point guard, and um, developed over the last 4 years to what I was this last year.
And some of these questions that I'll ask and Phil will ask, and when we're expecting some of your teammates to join us here shortly, and we'll be asking them basically the same questions as well, so you can see their reaction when we ask these. But getting up at 9 o'clock playing a basketball game, how was that on that Friday morning?
It was hard to get up. We didn't go to sleep probably as early as we should have. Uh, just some, I guess, jitters. But we had been getting up every morning and practicing at Spain Park around 9 o'clock. So we were used to getting up that early. So it wasn't that much of a difference. But from like during the season, I guess it was a big change to playing at 9 a.m. when normally we play at 6 p.m.
And it seemed like it paid off. Y'all got out to a big lead there. Kind of hit them right in the mouth, basically. But then after halftime, came out and hit a little bit of a lull and actually went down by a point or two. What uh, what happened after halftime? Did they make that big of an adjustment, or were y'all kind of content with the big lead that you had?
We knew they were going to go on a run. They're a really good basketball team, and I mean we knew that we couldn't keep a 10-point lead for long. I think it was 12 at halftime. And we didn't anticipate the amount of pressure that they were going to apply right there at the start. We made a few turnovers and then kind of just went flat. But at no point did we ever stress and worry. Like, we knew we had it. We just needed to regroup, find our groove, and then we pulled away from there.
Well, I was actually going to say something while Coach E wasn't on, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway. I watched up until halftime, and I was at work, and then I got sidetracked right at halftime, and I thought they've got this game in the bag, so I'm not going to watch second half. But something told me to go back and start watching, and when I started watching, you went from the 12-point lead down to being down by a point or two, and then taking the lead again. And I like to hear Coach E aspect on that too, as far as being being down, or being ahead and being down, and then them making that run again. Uh, Seemed like he's still busy driving a little bit. So your aspect on it, you said you kind of knew that they were going to make that big run. Did they do something right after halftime that y'all kind of wasn't expecting or prepared for?
Just full court press. They started pressing, they hadn't been. And I think it kind of took us by surprise. We made decisions with the ball, turned it over, and then they kind of ran with it.
Coach E, your ass.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. A tough start. We stressed for the first 4 minutes of the third quarter. We really needed to come out strong and put it away. But they started with sideline pressure to start with. And we just a little fundamental mistake on posting up and making the pass to get it in, and it got on a roll for them. They got, I think, 4 or 6 points before we even really had a possession. I probably, looking back, should have went ahead and went an early timeout, but those television timeouts were playing with my mind. I was trying to hang on and get to that, and that almost it did bite us a little bit. And then I messed one up in the fourth quarter as well. But yeah, their pressure, they came out determined and turned it up to where a level they had not shown in the first half. So, I don't think we really got frustrated. We just got out of sync and couldn't break the ice, because once we scored, and then of course Paisley knocks down a big shot there to really put it away late. It was stressful, but I never felt like we were in a lot of trouble. I felt like the whole time we were going to be able to right the ship. So
That's two questions I kind of want to ask. One, you're trying to steal a timeout there, a media timeout, by using, I think, a 30-second timeout, thinking that they would turn it into a full one, but they didn't. And I could tell by the frustration on your face that you thought you got away with it, but then again, you realized you didn't.
yeah, I was trying to get the freebie there. If I'd called it before 4 minutes and 30 seconds, we would have still got the media timeout. But since it was under 4:30, they counted my timeout as a media and made it a full. And so the whole plan of getting 2 timeouts and just a minute of clock time kind of fell apart. And she explained it well before the game. I just kept looking up and seeing that clock and thinking, now's the time. And I mistimed it about 15 seconds, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Phil, I'll turn it over to you and let you hammer out these questions.
Well, Coach, speaking of, that little run in the second half they had, a lot of times a team will come out and make a run like that and get back in a game, and then sometimes they'll kind of run out of gas. Do you think that might have what happened to them when y'all kind of sort of took back control? Because a lot of times you will get to the top of the mountain, but you can't get over the hump.
I think they were on a roll when they went up to 5 or 6. We just could not. I don't think they really expected us to fight back from there. I think they wanted us to melt. And so I don't think they ran out of gas as much as we just turned it back on, started making some defensive plays. And so it got better in that aspect.
Well, Coach, there's one thing in that basketball game. Your team put up 84 points. A lot of times that's unheard of in a finals game. Most of the time you've got 40 and 50-point games. So an 84-72 game, a lot of offense, and that which means you had to have shot the ball well.
We did. Our efficiency field goal rating was 59%, which that's one of those things that Huddle does and tells you, what you're, using 3-pointers as a higher rating than a 2-pointer. And so I think from the field, we actually shot in the 40s overall, but with a lot of them being 3-pointers, it really helped. We got off to a good start. I think we hit 12 threes in that. So.
Well, of course, Coach, you made this run, and I know, last time we had you on was right after y'all had, won a big area game to clinch home court advantage in the area tournament. You had beat North Sand Mountain, but the night before you had lost to Ider. And you were kind of a little unsure about which way this team was going to go. Usually your teams pick up the pace at this time of year, like me and John Kirby was talking about at church Sunday. For whatever reason, Coach Ellison's team, when it gets this time of year, they raise their level. They raise their level of play, and Coach Ellison coaches that way. When you were kind of unsure at that point, but after the Ider game, and of course y'all won the area tournament by beating North Sand Mountain, y'all just hit a streak where you shot the ball pretty well.
Yeah. I felt confident the entire year, but, that the North Sand Mountain in particular was a shock to our system. We felt like, on paper that we should not lose to them in that, especially in that situation in a neutral court. But when we got to them again at home and took care of business there, it really changed our mindset, I think, as a whole. I still believe the whole time that, that was where we were supposed to be and who we were supposed to be playing. We even had 2 games scheduled in the regular season with Decatur Heritage, but told him I only wanted to play him one time, and that was in the finals of the state. So
yeah.
After we righted the ship against North Sand and started playing pretty consistent, defensively I think was the biggest key. I'm not too sure our defense was as good in the state finals, but it didn't have to be because we were shooting it so well. But the defense picked up tremendously, and that changed our mentality.
Yeah, definitely. So I can agree with that. But Coach, looking back, of course, you did get a good look at Decatur Heritage because they did play Ider. Was you able to get some things from watching that film to kind of help you in that Decatur Heritage game?
In a sense, Ider's defense and our defense are not real similar. They're a primary pressure all the time, and we like to pick and choose, our situations and who we're going to try to press or put pressure on. So I could see that, there were players we needed to have more pressure on, and some that we could play off and help a little bit more. So yeah, watching those play and seeing Ider take it to them, that was encouraging, because I felt like, and I still feel like, us and Ider are a pretty good match, athletically and skill wise. We just seemed to struggle in the fourth quarter against Ider most nights. So, but yes, it definitely helped.
Yeah, definitely. So I would think so. Well, tell me this, Coach. Yeah, John Kirby and I were talking, and you do a lot of substituting. And of course, I know it's a lot to keep people fresh, but I'm sure you scout teams very well. Is part of your substitution pattern is to get maybe good matchups with player on player?
It was very specifically against Decatur Heritage. We knew they were longer and much quicker and stronger than most. So, we knew we were going to need Romans and Childress in the game at the same time a lot. The problem was we didn't know who else was going to have to sort of take the playing time hit. Turned out to be Taylor, and she played a great game. She just we needed that length to guard McGee and to help us on the rebounds. And it turned out we out-rebounded them quite a bit, and that's their bread and butter. So.
Yeah, and of course, I guess a lot of times rebounding, a lot of times comes out to be you might not be as tall as the other team, but effort is a big thing when it comes to rebounding.
Yeah, well, we stress it a lot, and the later in the season it gets, the more rebounding drills, the more we emphasize it. I guess we should do it the whole year, but peaking at the right time is crucial in this game because I've seen a lot of teams be amazing at Christmas and not be able to play playoff basketball. So, we bring things along as much as possible, especially with our physicality and our defense and rebounding as the season develops.
Yeah, and that you kind of answered the question. The next question I was going to ask you that, early part of the season, of course, you're going to play a difficult schedule. You're going to play wherever, whenever, and kind of sort of, pick and choose, move around the changing parts. But there's a plan involved. And when it comes playoff time, you kind of sort of put things into place to where you stress the important things to where your team plays at a higher level this time of year, because you haven't won 9 state championships just by accident.
A few of them feel like they were by accident, but
yeah,
very much like design. I felt like the last 2 years, if we were able to get past either, that we're capable of winning it those years as well. It was just not in the cards at that point. Making sure we, like I said, focus on the little things, because the little things become the big things in playoff basketball, because you can't rely on officiating. You can't rely on luck very much. You really have to take control of your own luck and create it. So,
Well, Coach, we've got Madeline on. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, talk to Madeline. Let me see if I can get these other two back on.
Okay, that's all right. That works. Well, Madeline, I was fixing to come to you. Of course, we had talked it off air about you winning the MVP of the finals down at Legacy Arena. What did that mean to you? And of course, Howie asked you this in the pre-show, but was you a bit surprised by being voted the MVP?
I was very surprised. In all the pictures and videos, you can tell that I was in complete shock. I think a lot of people told me they knew I was going to get it, and I had absolutely no idea. But at the end of the day, we won, and that's my biggest care, is that we won that game. Care who got the ball or those white ultimate team. We won a state championship, and that was my last game in that jersey. I was just excited to be there, and so when they called my name, it was very surreal, and it was a really good feeling.
That's definitely so. That's good to hear. What does it mean to play for Coach Ellison? I mean, you can throw him under the bus if you want to, but what has it been like to play for him?
He's obviously a great coach. He has so many rings to prove it, but he's also a good mentor, and he's there for me when I need him, and he's developed me into the player I am. I mean, I don't pick up a basketball in the off season much. He probably thinks I pick it up more than I do, but I didn't. I travel the country for softball, but in season, he works with me. He's made me the player I am. I'm very grateful to have played for him for all these years.
Phil, before you ask the next question, we got some of our teammates here, so let's bring them in.
Okay. All right.
We got Paisley and we got Campbell.
All right.
Girls, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Glad to be here.
You heard Phil's last question to Madeline about playing for Coach E. We'll just go ahead and let y'all answer that as well. Start with you, Paisley.
Okay, wait, what was the question? It cut off the question before you started.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're playing for Coach E. What does it mean to play for Coach Ellison?
Well, and I don't think it's an opinion. It's a fact that Coach E is like the best coach in the state. And it's been an honor because he's like a father figure to us at this point. Like, if you've seen some of the pictures that just came out like on Average Joe's and stuff of him like giving us all hugs and going down the line. Like, he's always been a great role model in our lives. So I feel really lucky to be able to play for him and win state championships on his team. I wouldn't play for any other team. So
Yeah, I can go with what Paisley said. Like, he's become a father figure to a lot of us at this point. Like, he's always there if you ever need him. You know, he lets me in the gym most of the time just because I always forget my keys. He really is just a guy that you can always count on, and I can't imagine myself ever playing for any other.
Go ahead, Phil.
Okay. Well, I want to ask all of you this question. Tell us a little bit, we can start with Madeline or whomever wants to answer first, but your families, what role do they play in the success, not only on the basketball court, but also in the classroom, and how important are they in y'all's lives?
My family is important to me. They have sacrificed so much for me to be the athlete I am today. My mom has spent every summer and every fall traveling the country for me to be able to play softball and go Division I and be signed to UAB. She has given up a lot to give me this opportunity, and the rest of my family has made their sacrifices. So my family is very important to me, and I owe them a lot of credit for my success.
Paisley, you want to go next?
I agree with Madeline. My family's like everything to me. They're at every event. There's probably only like a handful of times that they've missed any event in my life, academically or athletically. Um, my sister especially was helps me a lot academically because she's not good at sports. Um but even like my extended family, they'll do anything to be at any of my games and support me if it's a text before a game or a call after, tell me that they're proud of me. So they really do push me a lot and make me a better person overall.
Yeah, I agree with Madeline and Paisley. I can only count on one hand how many games my grandparents, parents, or sisters haven't been to or watched. My grandpa comes to every single one of my AAU games, whether it's in Texas, New York, Illinois, California. It doesn't matter where. My parents and my grandparents are going to be there. And that just means a lot to me to know that I have somebody who supported me through my whole entire process. And my mom is definitely a big role in my life just because she takes me to basketball practice, she takes me to all my games, and she's always there for me when I need her. So.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, I want to ask y'all this, and Madeline, I'll start with you. Of course, you have signed to go play softball at UAB. Of course, I know you want to play college athletics, but what are your goals outside of softball? If you didn't have softball, what are your future plans?
I'm majoring in civil engineering. I want to get that degree. I've been set on that for a while, and it's a goal that I'm willing to do a lot to reach. And just be successful in life. Just always have goals, set goals, chase them. If I didn't have softball, I'd still be going to college for civil engineering. I've always set my mind on that, and I plan to work for TVA.
Well, Paisley, what about you? Certain sports you'd like to play at the next level, or what are your long-term goals?
Well, I'm keeping an open mind about, sports and college. I don't know where I want to go yet, but I am going to major in pre-dental and I want to be a dentist. So I plan to, come back for dental school at the University of Alabama in Birmingham. So that's what I'm set on right now. And I obviously plan to achieve those goals and do whatever I have to. I really do try a lot academically too. So that's what I plan to
Well,
do.
Campbell, what about you? I know don't you have a sister that either played or is playing at Duke in softball?
Yes, sir. My sister got recruited to play at Duke, and then she got medically redshirted, and her career had to end short because of health problems.
Oh, okay. I just knew that she had signed with Duke. Well, I know you still got another year of basketball. Do you have a favorite? Would you rather play softball or would you rather play basketball?
I'd definitely rather play basketball, but don't get me
Okay.
wrong, I love high school softball with my friends. It's awesome, but I'd definitely rather play basketball.
Are you planning to play at the next level?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, what's your future plans? What are your long term goals?
Well, a lot of it depends on this summer. This summer's a big basketball summer for me. Like it starts my recruitment. Only 2 kids on my team are committed, and right now only 2 kids have offers. So it's just gonna be a big deal for me this summer. And what I want to do is I want to major in building science and build houses for people with low income.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's very good. Well, Coach, I want to come back to you. I know these young ladies mean a lot to you as basketball players. Each individually, what do they mean to you as people?
Well, that's that's a loaded question, but
Yeah.
uh, you know, I don't have a favorite. I've not ever had a favorite class, but I have got to watch these young ladies grow up literally. Uh, Helped that a little bit out when they were in, rec league, and then junior high continued. They all had to play early on the varsity. Uh, it was good for the teams. I'm not sure it was really good for them at the time, but they had to sacrifice a little bit. I call Madeline my warrior. She's always, if I told her to go run through the wall, she'd take somebody with her and run through the wall with them. So it's always been a thing. She draws the other team's best defenders pretty often, or best offensive players, excuse me, pretty often. And then she's got a real tough exterior, but she's got a real good heart, and people sometimes don't see that side of her because I think a little bit like me. She don't want anybody to know that. But sorry, Madeline. I know it, and I think your best friends know it. Paige Lee told her 2 weeks ago she's a gamer. She shows up when it really matters. I think her personality wise, she was kind of part of the glue that was able to help our younger players and less experienced players fit in with the older class. And her personality is sweet, but when she speaks, they listen. So that's always a good thing. And then Campbell's my stay in the gym, vocal leader. A lot of times she's hard on herself, probably harder on herself than I am on her. No doubt about that. Telling her, hey, you're not going to be perfect. Keep on playing. And, we've had a really good relationship, though. And various events in our last 4 years have kind of drawn us even closer. We could bring a couple more in on this podcast, and we'd have just about a whole family here of people that kind of ride or die together. And it's hard to find teenagers or even adults to buy in and stick with you no matter what. I think that's the biggest part about them is that they are true friends, and they're true competitors, and they're great teammates. So each one has their own special little place in my life, and I feel about them. I love them all equally, but I love them all differently, like if they were my children. So
Yeah,
that's
that's great. Yeah, that's a great answer. And of course, these young ladies are building their own legacy. And I want to ask you, all three of you can answer. The expectations are high when you play basketball, girls basketball at Pisgah, and there's a lot of pressure. But do you welcome that pressure?
Yes, sir. There's been a legacy left before us, but we kind of we decided we were going to leave our own. We didn't really live past this year. There's definitely pressure, but we decided, we're going to leave our own legacy, and the past doesn't matter. Of course, it shaped Pisgah basketball. but it's time for us to leave our legacy.
Yeah, something that Coachy always tells us is pressure is a privilege. You know, it's a good thing to feel pressure, to be looked at all the time, to be we just beat Pisgah, like, oh my God. It's a privilege.
Yeah, I agree with that also. I feel like pressure makes me a better player. I feel like I play my best when there's more pressure on, honestly. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, great answers there. Well, I want to ask you all three, and I'll let Howie ask a few questions. And of course, all three of you can answer this. Winning a state championship is a team award, naturally. I mean, you're as thrilled for your teammate as you are for yourself. But I want to know this. What did it feel like personally to lift that trophy?
It's a different type of feeling, especially as a senior. In the bottom half of that fourth quarter, and we knew we was gonna win, but me and Campbell, we were other end or and Allie Rollins was shooting foul shots, and all we was doing is thanking the Lord for this opportunity. We were both openly praying with our mouths, like God give us the strength to finish this game, and to know that He led us there and to hold that trophy. It was just it's surreal. It's some feeling you can't really explain.
Yeah, I can say the same. I was down there at the end and I was just saying out loud, like, Lord help us, Lord help us, Lord help us. And He delivered. And when we held up that trophy, it was obviously like emotional for many reasons because we did it. And I kept saying that, like, after we won, that we did it. Like, it was us this time. We did it. So.
Yeah, we were sitting on the bench, and I remember Paisley saying at least 4 times in a row, "We did it, guys! Like we did it!" And just knowing that it wasn't like we weren't coattails, you know, we didn't rely on Molly or Callie or Carly or Lila Kate. Like it was us. We played the full 32 minutes, and we were out there. We were the ones having to make the big time plays and the big time shots, and just that trophy was just so rewarding.
Yeah, I bet so. But one more thing I want to ask you about, and I just want to know if you've thought of this. I got to play on a state championship team in football, so I know exactly how y'all feel. But now that you've kind of settled back in and you've won that trophy, and you kind of look around and say, you know, the biggest part of going through this is the ride, is the climb to the top, the relationships, the friendships, the memories, the cherished moments. Those are the things you're going to remember from now, because that trophy is going to get dusty, but you girls are going to be like sisters for years to come. Uh, y'all will become even closer, I believe, when you're off the court, because people are going to talk about y'all forever. What do y'all think about that?
It's a weird feeling. We text after the next day after we won. We text and was like, "Wait, we don't have practice Monday. Like we don't have to go practice Monday. This is so weird." And so it was like we did peak. It was like a really high moment, and then it was like you settled back in, and we've been at school for the last 2 days, and we ain't been there in a week, and it's just like, oh, like everything's back to normal. It's kind of weird coming off that high and just going back to real life, I guess.
Yeah, it was super special. Like we spent the whole entire week together and then we win and it's so crazy. And then the next day we're texting like, I miss y'all. Like I feel like it's so weird because we created a bunch of memories just in the past week and obviously the whole season too. So it's really emotional when you know you're gonna have to lose those people. Like we're losing Madeline and Ashton and I've thought about it a lot after winning like I was on a high and then, I get kind of low. I'm like, oh, I'm going to really miss my best friends being out there. But it's really good that we went through this together, though.
Well,
Yeah,
Coach, I want to
coming.
ask you. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
I'll go
Callie.
off what Paisley said a little bit.
Yeah.
I just remember we spent every night together. Like we obviously had to share a bed, and the beds were twin XLs at best. And so just like getting so close with everybody. And I just remember the next night I was like, oh, I kind of miss like having a huge spend the night party and then winning state. Like, you can't complain about that. And it was great to make those memories. And winning state was definitely the best part of that trip, but the memories were a close second.
Yeah, definitely so. And y'all will always have those. And Gary, I wanted you to comment on this. I mean, it's great winning the state championship. This is your ninth one. You've done it before, but there's going to be a part of you that's going to miss this group that has been together.
That's an understatement, to say the least. Really, Madeline, Ashton were so unique and special. I think even Ashton even mentioned they're polar opposites, but somehow they gelled together very well. And, it's hard to replace good leadership. And that's a challenge for the two on line here and for several others. It's hard to find people that know their roles, know how to reach out and, pull people into the circle instead of alienating them and pushing them out of the circle. And I thought the mixture of Madeline and Ashton, Madeline was tough when be. Ashton learned how to care throughout the year. And then, that when you have a group that's truly committed to each other, it's hard to have a bad year regardless of win or losses. So, just couldn't be prouder, I don't think. Like I've said multiple times, I don't have a favorite championship, but the experience from this one is going to be really high on the memory pole because we were not necessarily supposed to do it, but that was based on the past. And as we'll soon learn, the past won't matter. When we have to start over, Paisley, Campbell, what we did last year won't matter. But, there's a specialness about it and the way it all went down. And, it's I will be sad, and I attend many of their softball and track things as I can just so I can stay connected to everybody. And I hope they go get another trophy, another blue one here in softball, and maybe Ashton will win something in state and track and field. But it's going to be different starting next spring without Madeline, without Ashton. But it's an opportunity for someone else to make their mark.
Well, Coach, I think, when we talked to you in the last podcast we had, I think the way everything fell and you describing this championship, it's especially sweet, I think.
It is. As far as the most rewarding and challenging one, I think they agree they were there in some capacities on the COVID year when we had to go through midfield and then spring gardening, Ricky and Ace. And, that was so challenging. And that part was rewarding. But the team chemistry and, we don't like to throw around random slogans and things, but, I don't think we could have been much closer once the season got rolling. And I think that's what it is. Everybody had to do their part. And they even had kids that were not dressed in their uniform that were still practicing with us right until the last day. And, everybody did their part to make it better. And I don't think I'll ever forget, just going through this season and knowing that I had people we could count on.
Yeah, and two, I guess you could give a shout out, Coach, to the community and the parents of these young ladies. Without them, that's what makes it worthwhile is parents, community, and all that, because they get to share in this trophy and they're a big part of it.
Oh yeah, we could start a list of people we need to thank. We had lots of people donating time and money so that we didn't have to go in debt to go to the state. We fed the girls well, made sure that they had what they needed and some of what they wanted on top of that. So all those, without going into a list, thank all of those folks. Then our staff, one of the best, if not the best we've ever had, because everybody had a role and we were able to follow him. And Coach Finch came over from Sylvania and really helped a lot with scouting and just encouragement and giving me a different point of view. And coming from a former head coach, it's quite different. Coach Cochran's been with these girls since they were in the 5th or 6th grade, and he's got great relationships with them. He kind of knows what makes them tick, and so his input was always very valuable. Coach Gilbert was pretty much a game coach, bench coach, but he is a motivating person, whether it's just by a calm challenge or a good old fashioned butt chew. And he's whatever it to help get that fire going. Someone said he lit a fire under their rear ends right before they started praying for a win. So those two things kind of went together. They got fired up, and then they literally went to praying in the middle of the game. I didn't know that until yesterday, and that's very it's heartwarming and humbling. Also, my daughter, Chloe Womack, it's her birthday today, babe. So happy birthday, Chloe, in case everybody else. She's my coach. Now, she is their softball coach, and she's harder on them than even I am as far as what she expects. But she does the same thing for me. She keeps me honest and keeps me on my toes, and she sees the game like girls see the game. So that's always, if I'm thinking they should know something, and she'd say, you've got to explain it differently, do it better. So she definitely has a major impact on their lives, and for sure mine. I told her many times I wish I was more like her, especially when it comes to just being very determined and not necessarily set in her ways, but she knows the way she wants to get things done, and she's not going to sacrifice anything for that. That's she held me to that standard as well. So we've got our principals, Mr. Darwin, who is always there to give us whatever we need. Sometimes he's perceived as a boys principal, but when it comes playoff time, he's always been there to support and really there the whole season. But he played football, played baseball, so he's naturally kind of attached to the guys' program to some extent. But I've never asked for anything and was denied through him. And Miss Ashmore is one of those people I could go vent to, and if I really, really needed something and Miss Darwin was not available to help, she was always going out of her way to do what it takes. Mr. Wilson takes care of our athletic director duties. He did a great job. I've got a wife who puts up with me being gone all the time. In support. She wasn't able to go to very many games because of the health issues, but she fought through last week to make sure she was there for the last two. I got grandbabies that lighten my life a lot. I think that's one of the things that's changed me over the years. My older players say I'm soft. I don't know what these gals would say, but I think a lot of that is, kind of having my own little clan here, and it's like maybe I know a little bit more about what being a parent feels like, and so I'm more sympathetic to them now than I used to be. I could go on and on. There's just so many people. My older brother he joined us late in the season, right after Christmas. He took a part-time job at the school, and he wanted to be involved however he could. And he was I think the job he took on was being encouraging to them and trying to make them understand me sometimes. I know he told Taylor to listen to what I say, not how I say it. And that's pretty good advice. Sometimes I can be harsh and say things in a way that's not necessarily productive. So, I could go on. My dad's always supportive, makes it to every game. Younger brother made it to state championship. These girls' parents have all been super supportive of me, just like they have been of them. I mean, there's really not an end to the list of people to thank. So anybody that not mentioned, don't think I'm taking you for granted or ignoring you. There's just so many. I don't have a piece of paper to read off of, but we do love and appreciate all of y'all out there that has helped us get where we are.
Okay, Howie, I'll turn it over to you.
Coach, we got a chat on here from Jimmy Tom saying winners. That basically sums it up with this group of people on here. You mentioned on the last podcast you was on that you wouldn't mind having a steak from Jimmy Tom. I think he deserves to, or you deserve to get one from him after winning that state title this year.
I tell you what, JT and Gilbert and Metz. Speaking of, there's another one, Coach Metz, as our trainer. He took care of ankles and feet and everything else throughout the season. But yeah, those three guys plus Heath Kirby, they know how to cook like nobody's business. Do expect a good steak from them at some point in the next few weeks. We always have a really good time when we get together. It just don't happen enough. That's what I want these girls to remember when they get over it. All these guys and their husbands and stuff, they're going to be there, but your friends are not always going to be next to you. So you better enjoy them while you can and make it a point to, get together in the years to come. Make it purposeful because it's hard to do by accident.
Oh, absolutely. And hey, you got an answer for that. Jimmy Tom says you got it.
Good deal.
So just throw me a bone off of that since I got it set up for you, Coach, if you don't mind. I want to backtrack a little bit to Paisley and Campbell. I asked Madeline before y'all joined us, playing a 9:00 game on a Friday morning. How did y'all prepare for that, and how was that? Start with you, Paisley.
Well, it started the night before, I guess, or the day before. Our legs are kind of dead from practice and all that. So me and Campbell got in an ice bath, and we talked about getting in the bed early, and we did. I mean, we got in pretty early and got a good sleep and woke up, ate breakfast. I had the same breakfast all week because, I really wanted to win. And I thought that we might win if I eat the same thing. So we ate breakfast and then, went out there, stretched, and it was really like a mental thing. You had to mentally prepare for the game because I felt pretty good physically before, but it was a lot mentally, getting over any block that I may have had before the game. So I just stuck to my normal routine though, and I got past it.
Campbell?
Yeah, I would say that it kind of started the week that we got there. Like the day that we got there, we had that game. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, when we had practice, we had early practice, getting up at 7:30, getting our breakfast in, preparing us for having that early morning game. And the night before, like Paisley said, the day before, we took an ice bath. That was awesome. And then we did get in the bed early. We had a team meeting before we got in the bed, and Coachy just came in there and was talking to us. And then Allie gave us a little scripture, and it got everybody feeling pretty good about the game tomorrow. And we woke up that morning, and it was pretty routine. Ate our breakfast, walked over there, stretched, and the rest is history.
Good deal. Y'all are speaking of routines. I call it superstitions. So let me ask this for all three of you. Is there any superstitions or routines that you have to do before you play a game? Start with you, Campbell.
I do. I usually do the same thing every game, just about. I always have a pregame energy drink. I know I can speak for these two on here with me. They also have a pregame energy drink. And I usually do the same stretches about the same time on the clock. I don't listen to the same music typically, but sometimes I will. I always have a Reese's at the before the game starts, before we pray, and I have one at halftime, just so I feel pretty good. And that's about all I do.
Paisley?
Yeah, I have the same routine every time, but I'm not crazy about it. Like I don't, it just happens. But I'll have an energy drink before the game, like Campbell said, and Alani, and I'll stretch and I'll have my headphones on while I'm stretching. And then usually when I get done with that, I'll take them off, sit down, put on some BioFreeze, and I'm ready to go. I don't have much to do really.
Madeline?
Not very superstitious. I do my hair different, eat different things. I have my Alani, but not out of superstition, just because I need one before a game.
We'll start with Paisley on this. When y'all were talking about music that you listen to before the games, what type of music or what artist do you listen to?
Okay, this is weird, but I listen to like alternative rock. Like I'm a big like Smashing Pumpkins fan. You can ask my friends right here; they'll tell you about it because they think I'm weird. But I always listen to the same playlist, and it's on Spotify. It's the Smashing Pumpkins radio, and they'll mix up the songs ever so often. But that's what I listen to before the game every single time.
Madeline?
I listen to, I guess you could rap music. I'm a big country fan, but I guess right before the game, I'll play some rap and get my going. I guess.
Campbell?
I would say I listen to like rap before the game, but going into the game, like I'll listen to like R&B, like very chill, and then before we're about to play, I'll listen to rap.
Coach E, do you have any music you listen to before the game?
I listen to them sing. They don't know it. They got their hands on. They're, they did a TikTok on the bus heading to Birmingham, and they, what are you listening to? And every one of them was something different. You know, I like stuff. Me and Ashton get along really well because she's into the 70s and 80s. For gym shooting, some of them were studying for a math test, but they went on their own and they had that. I was playing that too. So and I enjoy that, but when they start playing the rap, I guess I'm glad I don't understand the words because I might. Because, but first their eating habits, game coach gets them out every day or drinking. It works for them, so I'm gonna have to get him to leave them for a little while and let them eat what they want to.
Put you on the spot real quick. You said you listened to them sing. So which one's the best singer?
Ooh, that is putting on the spot.
Come on, Coachy.
Come on, Coachy. You know you like Paisley singing Smashing Pumpkins.
You do, and it's loud. It's good.
I'm not going to even try. They are very distinctive. Each one has their like she should be on The Voice or something, and you sing like that. And Campbell's got a good voice, but yeah, it's not quite Claudia, but Claudia can play basketball like you. When they get together, I can't say I can find a good one then. It's just when they're saying about
Campbell, something I saw on the interweb, the social media stuff. Somebody is talking about the hair that you wore during the regional and the state finals. Princess Leia type hairdo. What brought that on?
So it started in probably like the 8th grade, my dad has been begging me to wear the space buttons. And I'm like, no, like it's embarrassing. Like I don't want to do it. And this year, my dad has enforced on me that I have fun while playing basketball, like that I enjoy it and I'm not just out there like a robot. And we went to Disney for our trip this year. And for the last game, I was going to surprise him and wear the space buns because, it kind of looks like Mickey Mouse. And I just was kind of joking around and I was like, what if we all did it together? And they all just looked at me and they were like, yeah. So we get the whole team to do space buns. And I don't think everybody loved it. I think there was some people that were not a fan of the space buns. And
Sure.
so I kind of brought it back because of the reason that I want people to know that it's okay to be silly and it's okay to have fun while you're playing. Like that hairstyle kind of is goofy looking. Like you wouldn't expect somebody to wear it. And I really just think that's why I did it, just so I could prove to people that, you know, it's okay to be have fun and different.
Could you not get your teammates to do it as well?
My
They
head
didn't want
hurt
to stick
too
with it
bad.
all season. It does give you a major headache.
My scalp was hurting so bad I could not do it all season.
It does give you a major
It
headache.
does.
Ones.
That
She has puffy ones.
that our turning, because that was the Way County, Kentucky, one of the two best teams we played all year, and we went toe to toe with them right there, and they all had their face buns and was just start with and played hard the whole time. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to say anything about hair anymore, but yeah, I probably couldn't make mine do that.
It's during the watching it on TV and the finals there. I don't know if you realized it during the game, but you had like a little extra coming
I
off of one
did.
of
I
them
had
there.
a little. It's hard to get it all into one bun. So I have stragglers sometimes, but that just makes it more interesting.
There you go. And speaking of that, Laura Pruitt says, watching you put that champ's cap over them was interesting. I was trying to help you from my seat.
I was hoping that they might customize me one so I could put my space buns through it, but I probably should have requested that before the game.
So let's talk a little bit about that, and then we'll let y'all get out of here. Your championship hats, you've got some from before, but this and here means a lot. Probably means a lot more to you. What are y'all going to do with those? And when you get the rings, what will you do with them?
Well, I wanted to wear it to school on Monday, but not everybody was going to be there.
It looks good now. Mm-mm. I have a dresser that has like all my rings on it. And then I put them in like the little shadow box or whatever. And then my hats are on that table too. So I have my state trophy, my mini trophy from the first time, and then I'll get a new one and just put it on my dresser.
I
Yeah.
can say that I know that Ashton's dog actually chewed up her last state championship white hat. So I'm glad that she got another one for that reason.
Paisley, what about you?
Yeah, mine's all on one shelf. My hats, my rings, my basketballs, or my ring, my basketballs. Yeah, that's just where I keep mine.
Coach, let me ask you, every time you make it to the finals down there, you get a watch, and when you win, you get a customized basketball. What have you done with all these watches and basketballs that you've got?
Well, they quit doing the watches.
I was going to say, you get a watch?
Yeah.
I started replicas of the floor, which is every year. Of course, I've got the hats. I even got my COVID mask. Balls. Actually, I've got them all. I have a display case for all of it. Is also where I put right beside it. I have one for the red blazer that is due to go back in the cabinet for hopefully just for less than a year, I'll be able to get it back out. That's kind of memorabilia, excuse me, that my brother said my own personal tribute to myself, but it's really not to myself at all. Every one of those has memories of different ladies that made it happen, and these picking out those rings on Thursday, and hopefully have a banquet where they feed us some real good food, and we'll get to talk about the good time. I've got a shadow box with rings in it for sure, and it's rare that I'll wear one because I don't want to seem like that person. But think about start wearing one all the time because it don't matter. I guess they want to think I'm being too confident or cocky or whatever. They're going to do that anyway, so I might as well enjoy it.
Coach, how about winning one more next year and just getting all 10 of them, just wearing one on every finger every time you coach a game?
I've tried to put them all on. I have one from the year I full-time softball and helped. I got a soft. I already have 10 right this second. 9 basketball and the 1 softball. Yeah, they're all the same size, so it won't fit. And then they wear them at all, but they sure are pretty to look at. So.
Oh, last question for you, Coach. The new trophies that you got this year, the see-through. What do you think about that?
I've been there long enough to where that's the 4th type of trophy that I've seen. In '97, we had the great big state of Alabama. You look in the trophy case now, it dwarfs the other blue mounts. And then they went from it to the same style, but a good bit smaller. I was upset about that. From the state of Alabama shape to the one that kind of the AA one that they've had for the last 10 years or so. And I finally got used to it, and they changed it to this glass. And I'll be honest, I actually like this one. But some of the older girls are like, can't believe they changed the trophy. That's not right. But I'll get set for these. I actually really like this one. It's so unique and so different, and I'm glad I got the opportunity to get one now. Hey, we're not guaranteed anything. That's one of our messages all the time. We have to earn it all. And I think I held the trophy up and had my picture taken through the trophy there, looking through the glass. And it was silly, but it was cool. So.
We had Coach Childers on last night, and I asked him if anybody had their picture made looking through it, and he said he didn't know if he did or not, or if any of the girls did or not. But I'm glad that's going to be my question. I wish somebody would have, and here, Coach, you did.
I did. Like, hey, this is cool. Look at this. I don't remember which one of the girls made it, but it was a good long celebration of taking pictures anyways. And we're not afraid to take pictures. Our girls will pose. We try to have pictures made together every chance. I would guess Madeline and I has probably had her picture made 25 times together over the years, and could say the same with Campbell and Paisley. I mean, it's the family part of it. And so, maybe they need to look through it and get their picture made before we put it in the case. It's sitting on the table in the hallway of the school, so everybody can take a look right now, but eventually take its place. So maybe
I got a feeling that there'll be a lot of girls players around that thing tomorrow with their cell phones taking that picture, looking through it. But Coach, you mentioned something about the trophies. I didn't realize they had changed them so many times. You may have the record as far as holding all the different type of trophies.
It's possible. The last time friend Jason Bowen took 4 different decades. thought, thanks, I'm not that old, but it was true. In the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s and the 20 and then 20. I've been doing it a long time, and I have seen lots of changes. Even in the athletic association, there's probably not but 2 or 3 of the people on the board down there that are still there when I started. I think there's just 2. So I'm just not ready just yet.
Girls, I've got one last question for y'all. Then if Phil's got something he can ask, and then we'll let y'all get out of here. We really appreciate y'all taking the time to join us tonight. Y'all are welcome to come back anytime. I know some of y'all play softball and got a lot of stuff going on, but anytime y'all want to come on and talk, just let us know. We'll be more than happy. So here's my last question for y'all, and I'm going to start with Paisley because we've been starting with Madeline, and it's like she will answer, and then Paisley say, "Yeah, I agree with Madeline." Then we get to Campbell, and Campbell's like, "Yeah, I agree with Paisley and Madeline." So we'll start with Paisley, and then y'all can decide on which way to go. I know Friday morning was huge, winning the state. I know that's going to be memorable for you all for the rest of your life. What other time this past year was the most memorable moment for you other than winning the state title, Paisley?
Oh, that's difficult. Well, there was memorable in a bad way and then memorable in good ways. Like, um, we lost county to North Sand Mountain, and that was like, it was kind of heartbreaking to all of us. But we played them so many times that we knew that we might lose one this year. But after that, like we kicked it in gear, and like it flipped like a switch when we played them. Like we gave them a good, like a tough game the next time. And then in like a good way, um with probably like our state memories were good. Like we'd come in at night and we would all be on one big bed, and we got out our school Chromebook and did karaoke on it. um because we couldn't connect to the TV. So we had some awesome memories. I don't know if I can put it into like one memory. So
Campbell?
Definitely I would say a bad memory I remember is losing to Otter at home in that big stretch right before we were about to get into, you know, area and regionals. And I remember being really upset about that game just because I knew that I could have done better and that we could have done better and we should have won. And that game really flipped a switch for me personally. And a good memory, I would say, was Orlando. Just having to walk like 20 miles a day at Disney and then go in and play in a basketball game. And I remember our other roommate, she's not here right now. Her name's Briley. We sat in the bed and rubbed each other's feet because our feet hurt so bad after the games and Disney. And that was just a really great memory.
Okay, Madeline.
I would say a bad memory that stuck and we stayed sour about was definitely losing county. I kind of stayed sour longer than I should have because it was my last county tournament and we ain't won it in a while and I really wanted that one. But a good memory was sorry Jeremiah if you're ever listening, but we beat 50 and and it was like there's no way they ever can compete with us again. And so that gave us the confidence going into regionals.
Good deal. Coach, do you have a memory?
Oh, I got a lot of memories. I can go all the way back before the season started. There was, we had our moments where it's like early season. I'm wondering if are we any good or not? Are we going to get? But as far as just heartbreaking, uh, those 2 games that they both mentioned, or they've all mentioned, with the Ider and North Sand, those hurt because that's our neighbors. I'm a North Sand Mountain graduate, and a lot of my friends up there still, they give them a hard time every chance they get. And the trophy sitting in their gym that we feel like should be sitting in ours. That was tough. Ider is just so competitive. Uh, we beat them a few times last year, but with McKinley back, we've, just be honest, not been able to catch them on a day when everybody on their team's not playing well. So both of those are terribly disappointing, but I think I'm going to have to agree with Madeline. Aside from the region state championship, those games, the North End home game.
I think we lost Coach. Phil, you have any closing comments for these ladies?
Yeah, I got a couple. I want to ask you about. Would y'all all describe this team as kind of being footloose and fancy free off the court, but when you walk on the court, it's all business?
Yes, sir. I think that's a good description of us.
Yeah, I guess y'all would. I see you nodding your head, so the other two agree too. One thing I want to ask you about, of course, every year, at this time, you're expecting to win a state championship always. When you get to Birmingham, that red jacket's coming out, and I've seen pictures of like Fear the Jacket and those type of things. When Coach Ellison puts that jacket on, it means something. Do y'all kind of rally around that?
I feel like there's an expectation that comes along with the jacket. Like, I don't know. I think Coachie's lost 1 or 2 games in the state finals with the jacket. And so I feel like I don't want to be the team that, adds to that and makes Coachie lose in the red jacket.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, I know I appreciate you young ladies coming on with us, and I know this is a special time for you, and you're going to collect and bring out a lot of memories from this because I know you're going to cherish every moment, and I just want to know, really and truly, I don't know if I really asked y'all this, but Coach E's not on here. What does he mean to y'all? Each of you give me a quick answer. What does he truly mean to y'all as a person?
Who wants to go first?
He's back, but I truly love him, and like I said earlier, I'm really grateful, beyond grateful that I got to play for him, and he'll be on the softball field with me, so I won't miss him too hard. But he'll always be somebody I can call at any point in my life if I need anything. I know that he's there for me.
Paisley, you want to go or me?
I'll go. Okay. When I first met Coachy, or when he first came into my life, like in rec ball, I was kind of intimidated by him and scared. I was like, oh my gosh, Coachy's watching me play. I better do really good. But now that I know him, I love him. He is like part of my family, and I really can go to him for anything. And I feel like years from now, I could still go to him also, like Madeline said. So he really does mean a lot to me. Not just as a coach, but as like a leader in my life and just someone I can go to.
I trust Coachy so much, and mine and Coachy's relationship is very strange because sometimes he's like a father figure to me, and then sometimes I can go to him with a basketball problem, or we can just talk about the upcoming season, or we can just have real life conversations. And I think that's really important that he knows how each and every single one of us feel, and he does that to Paisley and Madeline and Ashton, and he's just always is trying to make sure that you are okay and you're in a position that you can be great in, and he will always come and ask you anything, and he really does act like one of us kind of now.
Well, Coach, I want to ask you about one thing. I know, thinking about retiring, seasons become a grind naturally. As we get older, we're all, and I'm that way at work. But, seasons become a grind, but when you have moments like this, when you win a state championship and are able to spend some special moments with your players, that's what makes this worthwhile and keeps you coming back day after day, right?
For sure. It's one of those, without the relationships, it's really no big deal. I mean, lots of people win games, lots of people win championships, but the real championship is being able to be a part of their lives for forever, or without without having to worry. I know I can trust basically all of my players this moment with pretty much my life if I had to. And so yeah, the championships are awesome, but the relationships with each one of these, it's all unique. But just being able to know that I want them to know I love them, and I try to tell them as much as possible. And sometimes they even love me a little bit. So it's really, that's the best part of all of it.
All right, Howie, off to you.
All right, ladies, before we get going, and Coach E, I'll give y'all opportunity to give a shout out to anybody that you want to, and then we'll close up and let y'all go on with doing whatever you need to do. And we will start with Coach E, shout outs.
I think I did a lot of shouting out a little earlier. And, I guess just the rest of our team. We had 8 players on the team to begin the year, and, pretty much settled with a 7 to 8 player rotation. I had Allie Romans to go in there, and Taylor Bell, Ella Samples, and Briley Caperton were all the part of that core, and each one had a job to do, and they all did it very well. And then, we brought up some players, both for our Christmas tournament and for the end of season, and they got better as a result of our practices and just being there, being part of it. Hopefully, it'll serve as some motivation for some of them to get in the gym and sharpen their skills and become, even better basketball players. They're all good kids. Now we need them to become really much more skilled and determined to be good in that way. So, I guess shout outs, that probably does it. I'm not going to go through that list of underclassmen because I'll leave one out, and there's a lot of good kids in there, but I appreciate all of them, and it's looking forward to moving forward. I've had several people ask me, and some ask me to not retire, and some tell me I'm stupid if I don't. But I honor commitments, and I made commitments to these ladies here several years ago, and I can't be the person that turns the back on, what I committed. And then when I look on down the road, I don't see an exiting point that really fits. So I guess we're just going to wait for that day to happen, and I'll know it. But I love you, girls.
Campbell, shout outs.
I'm with Coach E. Just shout out to the rest of our team. Ashton, shout out to her. She's our other big senior. She did a lot for each individual player this year, and it's just such an honor to be able to call someone like Ashton a teammate.
Paisley.
I don't want to leave anyone out either. So all those people that Campbell and Coach E talked about, my family and everybody that showed up for me and everybody that truly believed in us. Just all those people. I don't want to leave anybody out. So.
Last but not least, Madeline, since you're the veteran of the show, by about 15 minutes, we'll let you finish it up.
The rest of
Obviously, can't do it without our community for all their support and my family.
Great job, girls. Coach E, thanks for joining us again. Ladies, thanks for joining us. Best of luck for the ones that are playing softball, playing something else after basketball. Coach E, get you a little rest because before you realize it, basketball will be here again.
It's already there. We're trying to schedule right now, trying to make decisions on what to do in the next season. And it's like I caught myself trying to ask Madeline a few questions about next year today, and I had to bite my tongue pretty quick. Doesn't take that very well. You know, she's ready to be out of high school, but I think she'd also like to play ball for a little while longer. And I hope they play all the way to May softball. And is it looking forward to whatever the future holds.
Could you not figure out some way to get a filthy year red shirt for her?
She should have been. She's a very, very young senior. I know all the people around here dog the hold bags, but she's going to graduate at 17 years old, and theoretically could have had 2 more years. If at least she could have been 2 years older at this point, and I can't imagine the difference she would make as a 19-year-old senior or 18-year-old playing in high school sports. So, but unfortunately, we hadn't found that loophole yet. If we did, I guarantee we wouldn't have lost the last 2 because I'd have kept a few more back too. So,
well,
Coach, I would imagine you'll see Madeline really excel on the softball field down at UAB because, as she gets more mature, older wise, she's probably going to really show out at that point.
I have no doubt it's because of her determination. I mean, she was not a basketball player 3 months ago, but something clicked and she become, not like she said, a playmaker, a go-to person. And I remember when she first really getting aggressive, I was thinking, hey, maybe you don't need to shoot that much. But she proved me wrong, along with a lot of other people. So I've no doubt she's going to do big things. It's going to be hard, I think, because, eventually they find out that college athletics is a job and not near as much fun as high school or as their travel leagues and things. And it's hard to make yourself want to keep playing ball while you're having to study that hard, especially in the civil engineering field. But I hope she sticks with it for a good long time because she's worked most of her life for it and deserves a good opportunity. So no doubts about her success. And I'll say this, risk of making some softball coaches mad. I hope some of you pitched to her this year. I got tired of watching her get walked. Now I realize you're trying to win, guys, but let's challenge her once a game, anyways, instead of putting in first base every time. So, but I will be honest. If I was coaching against her, I would just point to first base. So I can't really dog them much.
So we appreciate your time. And for the 2025 2A state champions, how does that sound, girls?
Amazing.
Sounds good to me.
For the 2025 2A state champion Lady Pisgah Eagles, thank you, Coach Carey Ellison, Campbell Barron, Paisley, Madeline. Thank y'all for joining us. For Phil Harris, I'm the Howard Chaney. This is Beyond the Booth. Good night and God bless everybody.